Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video. I already uploaded a video earlier today, but in the couple days that I've been off the internet a lot has happened and we've got some pretty breaking news in, so let's jump into the articles for today. As always, these are all linked in the description if you want to read them yourselves. So let's start with Bitcoin Cash. The hard fork has officially happened, so let's look at this article from CoinDesk for some of the details. The code for Bitcoin's Cash hard fork has been activated. With neither side of the contentious debate leading up to the hard fork willing to come to a compromise, two competing implementations of the protocol have now been activated. However, it is unclear at this juncture which of the two will become the dominant software of the Bitcoin Cash network, or if two distinct chains will continue to coexist in the long term. Now, Bitcoin Cash is itself, of course, the result of a hard fork, and in that case, both sides coexist, with Bitcoin, or by some called Bitcoin Core now, being the original and Bitcoin Cash being its hard fork. But we have also seen plenty of hard forks in the past where one of the forks just completely died after a while, so we will have to wait and see in this case. The last common block among Bitcoin Cash miners was, that's the number, mined by SV Pool. As of press time, Bitcoin.com, which is supporting Bitcoin ABC, had mined a new block signifying that the two chains have divided, according to data from coin.dance. To recap, the implementation put up by leading Bitcoin Cash developer group Bitcoin ABC introduces a series of technical upgrades to the network, such as a reordering of transactions to increase block capacity, as well as additional code to support greater interoperability between cryptocurrencies. The other implementation, dubbed Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, or Bitcoin SV, rejects these changes to instead restore retired code from the original Bitcoin protocol and increases the block size from 32 MB to 128 MB. This is pretty much all you will need to know here right now. I've talked about this extensively the last 2 weeks or so because there has been a lot of infighting in the Bitcoin Cash world, and there has been a lot of confusion also about whether these hard forks will be supported, which exchanges will be supporting which of them. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of fighting. But for me personally, I think Bitcoin ABC is very much on the right track here. I've said it before, Bitcoin is hopelessly outdated technologically, and Bitcoin Cash as an updated fork of that. Bitcoin Cash itself is an upgrade of Bitcoin, but it is still behind most other major cryptocurrencies in its functionality. I think it's kind of ridiculous to want to stay so close to Satoshi's vision, when Satoshi is someone we don't know who Satoshi is, we don't have any communications from Satoshi after he initially created Bitcoin. Who knows what he would actually think if he, or rather what he actually does think now. Who knows what he thinks faced with all the advances in technology. In my opinion, it is good to move forward, and we have a lot to be thankful for to Satoshi. He pretty much created cryptocurrency. He created the outline for all other cryptocurrencies later to adopt. Without him, cryptocurrency wouldn't exist. But I don't think that means we shouldn't innovate on his technology he put forward. And as someone who invented a whole new type of currency, he doesn't strike me as someone who would be against progress. So the SV version, the Satoshi's Vision version, which actually rolls back updates and wants to go back to original Bitcoin code, I don't really see a future for that. I don't see any use cases for that. I don't see how that can have any value as anything but for prestige and because people want to use it as a store of value. But to me personally, the potential of cryptocurrencies is not as a store of value. We have very stable long-term stores of value already that are in most cases more stable than cryptocurrencies historically. Now that doesn't mean cryptocurrency can't become more stable, but as it stands I don't really see the point of that personally. Doesn't mean that that is necessarily a bad thing, just me personally, I don't really get it. I'm chiefly on the side of Bitcoin ABC here, in that they want to further improve the code, innovate on it in meaningful ways, rather than stay in the same place. Now we got someone from traditional finance saying something ridiculous again, and this seems to happen a lot, so let's look at what was said this time. Executive board member of the European Central Bank, Benoît Cœur, I probably mispronounced that terribly, considers Bitcoin to be the evil spawn of the 2008 financial crisis, Bloomberg reports. He reportedly made his acid remarks at the Bank for International Settlements in Basel. The BIS's general manager, Augustin Carstens, has likewise previously made a spate of crypto-skeptical remarks, notably characterizing Bitcoin as a combination of a bubble, a Ponzi scheme, and an environmental disaster. He clearly doesn't know what a Ponzi scheme is. Explicitly recalling Carstens' characterization, I don't know what how his name is pronounced. I mean, I took French at university, but that was a while ago. Framed his criticisms of the 10-year-old innovation with reference to the aftermath of the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy in fall 2008, the tipping point for economic turmoil, global recession, and subsequently the controversial too big to fail rationale for state intervention. And his quote, "Few remember that Satoshi embedded the Genesis block with a Times headline from January 2009 about UK banks' bailout. In more ways than one, Bitcoin is the evil spawn of the financial crisis." Now, let's stop reading here. The important part is that statement, evil spawn of the financial crisis. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with him that the financial crisis was almost certainly one of the causes of Bitcoin being developed. Now, Satoshi, of course, did embed the Genesis block with a Times headline. I believe it was a photo of it, I'm not entirely sure, about the results of the financial crisis. So Bitcoin is very much, at least partially, a response to the financial crisis, a response to the failings of traditional finance. But to call it evil is just utterly ridiculous. And all that shows me is that a lot of people in traditional finance are just so scared. They're just running scared from these new technologies, from blockchains, from cryptocurrencies, from technologies that could overthrow the way it's being done right now, that could harm their monopoly. And it shows. It is so embarrassing. It is just embarrassing because you can have a lot of valid criticisms of Bitcoin in particular or crypto in general. With Bitcoin in particular, you can talk all day about its technological shortcomings and inabilities to scale. You can talk all day about regulatory issues. What you can't call it without being absolutely ridiculous is evil. There's nothing evil about Bitcoin or about any cryptocurrencies. You have to keep in mind when these people are talking about Bitcoin, they usually don't mean Bitcoin in particular. They're talking about the entire crypto space using Bitcoin as a shorthand because more people are familiar with Bitcoin than people are with cryptocurrency as a concept. So I've noticed this a lot when people who aren't in the crypto space talk about the crypto space. They will say Bitcoin, but they really mean all of cryptocurrency because it's very, very clear. People say Bitcoin, but they mean cryptocurrencies in general. But what people often do is they use arguments that only actually work with Bitcoin to attack all of cryptocurrencies as well. It's kind of ridiculous. There's just a lot of ignorance, a lot of people thinking they're better informed than they actually are. And this is the latest example of just a ridiculous statement. Now, there are so many valid criticisms you can have of Bitcoin. Evil, you just wanted to get in the news. And I mean, he succeeded. All the major crypto news pages are reporting on it. Bloomberg reported on it. I'm talking about it right now. He clearly succeeded, but this is the old guard. The next generation will be pro-crypto. We already see some turnover with pretty much any time a new position is filled in a major financial agency or major bank, they tend to be crypto-friendly. So we're already seeing that turnover. These people will, one by one, either leave the financial world or realize what they've been saying is ridiculous. And okay, now for the rest of the video, we're just gonna be talking about Ripple and XRP because a lot has been going on there. So I'm sorry if you're not interested in Ripple or in XRP, but there's a lot. First of all, XRP has been added to Coinbase custody, which some see as a first sign of it being added to Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is of course very controversial, and I get that. I'm not here to make any value judgment on Coinbase, but I get that a lot of you do not like Coinbase. I understand your reasons, but what I think is important to consider here is that Coinbase is one of the biggest names in the crypto world. They have a $8 billion valuation. When they do something, it has an influence, it has an effect. And as much as one might hate Coinbase personally, if one wants to look out for the long-term success of XRP as a token, of Ripple as a company, that means a Coinbase listing ultimately would be very good for the coin. It would give it legitimacy in the eyes of many investors. It would give it easier access to a lot of people. That is ultimately a good thing for the token. And some people see this being added to Coinbase custody as an early sign, but what some people also see is an attack on Ripple here. Let's read this from cryptobriefing.com. Observers suggest the move is a legally safe response to a sustained interest in the token. XRP is now a supported asset on Coinbase custody, suggesting institutions are placing more faith in the asset. Coinbase custody lists XRP as one of the 9 supported assets for its service. Although the exchange has not revealed when exactly it added the remittance and settlement token, it came to the sector's attention in the early hours of the morning. XRP is one of 2 assets, the other being Omisa Go, supported by the custody solution but which cannot currently be traded on the exchange. Coinbase custody also opted to use the Ripple logo rather than that of XRP. Whether this has any significance is debatable, but the ongoing PR campaign to distance the XRP token from Ripple Labs is apparently not finding traction at Coinbase. Now, for me personally, I don't think we should read too much into this. First of all, you have to keep in mind this is the image chosen on their website. This could very well not have been done with direct oversight from one of the higher ups there. This could have just been their web person or even an intern providing the image, and a lot of people are confused about the distinction between Ripple and XRP. Now, if you are among the people that are confused, Ripple is a company. Ripple is an international remittance company that develops distributed ledger technology products. Among their products is the XRP token as it is being used on XRapid and on other services that they provide. And XRP is the token, the coin itself. There has so far been no official word from Coinbase custody on the support for XRP. Its social media pages are relatively inactive. In a blog post published in early August, the service said it was currently exploring adding over 30 new assets to its solution. As well as XRP, other coins featured included EOS, Dash, and Neo. Interestingly, Coinbase custody opted to use the actual XRP logo in that blog post. Coinbase custody is an institutional level service that provides safe storage for virtual currencies. Its first deposit was accepted in the summer, and the service uses a mix of cold wallet storage as well as broker dealerships and reporting services. Deposits are fully insured against theft. And we don't really have to read the rest of it, we have the gist of it here. XRP on Coinbase custody, but oddly enough they are using the Ripple logo instead of the XRP logo. Now, like I said, I don't think you should necessarily read too much into this. Coinbase is by now a relatively large company and with different divisions, and who knows how close the oversight from the top people is about which image gets used on the Coinbase custody website here. Someone might have just had the job to look for the correct logo and might have just picked the wrong one. Stuff like that does happen even in professional settings. People make mistakes. And sometimes the oversight isn't as strict as it should be. Sometimes no one really looks at it again before it goes online. So I wouldn't read too much into this, though other people see this as an attack on Ripple as a company and on XRP as a token. Because Coinbase has been notoriously against adding the coin to their platform. Which a lot of people have been critical of Coinbase for, including me. I think it's a bit ridiculous not to list XRP. They try to put forward reasons, but none of them are legitimate. Let's continue on with more Ripple news. And here we have some statements from Brett Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, saying that Ripple is aiming to overtake Swift. Now keep in mind here, what we were previously talking about was a rumor just a couple of weeks ago that was pretty big, that Ripple was allegedly working with Swift. Now we get a very different perspective here. After Swift already rejected that rumor last week, I believe I talked about it on this channel. Ripple CEO Brett Garlinghouse, in an interview with Bloomberg TV, shared a lot of information about how he expects the world's third largest cryptocurrency, now second, by market cap, will integrate itself with the banking industry and attract more customers. The interview covered a range of topics including Swift, regulation, growth in institutional investment, and Ripple's role in the banking industry. Garlinghouse rebutted claims made by Swift that blockchain technology would not be a solution to global banking challenges, saying, "The technologies that banks use today that Swift developed decades ago really hasn't evolved or kept up with the market." Swift said not that long ago that they didn't see blockchain as a solution to correspondent banking. We've got well over 100 of their customers saying they disagree. Here the important thing is 100 of their customers. So what he is saying here is that Ripple is actively stealing Swift's customers, and I kind of love that he just openly came up about this. When asked about the difficulty in capturing institutional investment, Garlinghouse said that regulatory certainty has played a big role in driving institutional funds into the market, noting how the arrival of startups like Bakkt has opened up the market to these investors. Keep in mind as well, a couple of weeks ago we got the Q3 2018 report from Ripple, and institutional investment in the XRP token completely skyrocketed over previous quarters. Ripple has had a phenomenal 2018, trading places with Ethereum as the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap and onboarding several major banking partners onto its RippleNet global payments platform. The XRP token acts as a proxy currency that can be used by banks to quickly and cost efficiently make cross-border payments. The claims made by Ripple's CEO is backed up by data. Ripple released a Q3 report that evidenced a growth in institutional investment, and multiple cross-border payments have already been conducted by partner banks. Despite all of this, Garlinghouse believes that 2018 didn't quite hit the expectations as far as institutional investment was concerned of analysts. On the whole, however, he was extremely optimistic about the market's prospects. Like the market's investors, Garlinghouse believes that the market has been burdened with hype, and the long-term survival of digital assets lies in their ability to solve real-world problems, not making castle-in-the-sky claims. This can be seen as an attack on a lot of newer cryptocurrencies, especially ones that were started with an ICO. A lot of them made ridiculous promises but didn't have the tech, didn't have the staff, didn't have the investment, didn't have the development to back it up. Garlinghouse's comments revealed a high confidence in those problem-solving capabilities of Ripple. What we're doing and executing on a day-by-day basis is in fact taking over Swift. Garlinghouse said after earlier remarking that Swift is owned by the banks, we are here to help the banks. While rumors of a partnership between Swift and Ripple have been making the rounds, the CEO confirmed that no such collaboration would be taking place. For the moment, Ripple seems focused on providing effective solutions to the banking industry's problems. So here we have it, in fact taking over Swift. Now, some headlines have twisted this a bit. Some made it sound like they're looking to actually take over the company, which is of course utterly on the face ridiculous. And also there would be no reason for them to do that. But what they are doing is slowly but surely taking away some of Swift's customers and having them either completely move over to Ripple's solutions or partially for individual payment corridors. Now this is a long process, it will take time, but you have to keep in mind once these results start showing up, once all these banks release their yearly reports to their shareholders with all the money that they saved by using Ripple's technologies, by using RippleNet, by using Xcurrent, Xvia, Xrapid, with or without the XRP token, once they're all showing that they've made higher profits, that they've been able to invest money that otherwise would have been stuck in Vostro and Nostro accounts, once all of that happens, other banks will take notice, other banks will also start moving over. Ripple is in it for the long game and the XRP token will benefit from that greatly. But we do have some more statements actually, once again from Garlinghouse, in this separate article, and this will be the last one for tonight. Ripple chief regulatory clarity will drive crypto blockchain adoption. So here talking more the bigger picture. Commenting on the importance of regulation in the technology sector, Brett Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, said that introducing regulations will lead to blockchain and cryptocurrency adoption. A lot of people have been thinking, or rather a lot of people have been saying, that they do not welcome regulation, that they think regulation might kill the crypto world. Garlinghouse is of a very different opinion, and I mainly share that. Garlinghouse made these remarks while talking to the Deputy General Counsel Ross Leckow of the International Monetary Fund at the Singapore FinTech Festival. The topic of their discussion revolved around the regulatory frameworks emerging in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Some of the members include Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines, among others. Regulatory clarity has a huge ability to drive digital asset and blockchain adoption. It is surprising how many markets still have uncertainty, he said. The market has set clear regulations for blockchain and cryptocurrency, but they face challenges in correspondent banking. Hence, Ripple has focused its attention on this sector. Nearly 50% of all of our global customers are based in the region, and our Singapore headquarters continues to be a growth engine for Ripple, expanding by 200% in the past year. Garlinghouse added that Thailand has not only supported this new technology, but its regulation has even legalized XRP. Ultimately, Ripple plans to introduce the Internet of Value, a term coined by the company, to allow instant and economical cross-border payments. Meanwhile, Lecco assured Garlinghouse that the IMF plans to support these countries in creating proper regulations without suppressing development in blockchain and cryptocurrency projects. In fact, IMF's FinTech Advisory Board includes Chris Larsen, co-founder and former CEO of Ripple. Last month, in an interview with financial news outlet Cheddar, Garlinghouse said that XRP is very clearly decentralized. He justified his statement by stating that even the CEO of the company is unable to change transactions or alter the ledger. Garlinghouse also spoke against critics who spread false information regarding Ripple's decentralized nature. He claimed that some of these people have an economic interest in bringing down XRP. The rest of these people belong to the group that believes government and regulations shouldn't exist in the cryptosphere, he explained at the CB Insights Future of FinTech 2018. Sometimes it's seriously like this guy is just saying exactly what I would be saying. Garlinghouse added that XRP is in the midst of a crypto holy war, but it knows that the only way to enable the Internet of Value is by collaborating with financial institutions and following proper regulations. Now, a lot of people hate that Ripple here positioned themselves as supporters of traditional banking rather than usurpers of traditional banking. But the way I see it, the blockchain world can create completely new markets that are separate from traditional banking. What's not going to happen is traditional banking completely disappearing. So Ripple's strategy here to work along with banks to enable cheaper, fairer, faster, more transparent and safer transactions, especially internationally. Ultimately, everybody benefits from this. So I'm very much a supporter of this, and by any real metric, XRP is decentralized. Now, of course, you have to keep in mind that there is no such thing as centralized or decentralized. Centralization exists on very much of a spectrum. It has only more decentralized and less decentralized. But compared to various major cryptocurrencies, you can make a strong argument that XRP is actually more decentralized than a lot of them. Now, it is true that Ripple owns a lot of XRP tokens, but what is also true is that almost all of them are locked up in escrow, with only a certain amount being released every month and then putting a large number back as well every month. So even if they wanted to attack the network, if they wanted to use all those to mess with it somehow, if they wanted to dump all the coins, drive down the price, make a massive profit, they can't do any of that. And the network itself is completely autonomous. They cannot do anything to manipulate that there. Now, of course, people have looked at the code and have verified that. But with that, I'm gonna end today's video, and I'm just so happy about the way the company is dealing with the spotlight. They are sending their best people, most importantly Garlinghouse, but other core staff members as well. They are sending them to speaking engagements everywhere. They are giving interviews. They are accessible. They are clearing up misconceptions, miscommunications. They are pretty much dealing with this as a major tech company should. Ripple is one of the few companies in the crypto space who are really acting like professionals. Now, they're not the only ones, but still there's a lot of behavior that is quite frankly childish in the crypto world. And Ripple is usually not part of that, and I'm very happy about that. But with that, I'm gonna end today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to me yet, why? Change that. Hit that little button. And if you are, thank you, you're awesome. All the links to these articles in the description, as well as my social media pages and ways to support the channel if you feel so inclined. Thanks for watching, and I'll be with you guys again tomorrow.